Hey guys, I'm Mal today. So the Wallabies have just announced their squad for the France series that's being played within Australia. Very interesting squad. I'll go over the forwards as well as the backs that they have selected, as well as my prediction if this squad is good enough to beat the French at home. So yeah, first of all, with the forwards, here are the forwards that the Wallabies have selected. Very interesting to say the least. With the loose head props, they have come with the likes of Angus Bell from the Waratahs, as well as Scott Seo from the Brumbies, and of course James Slipper as from the Brumbies. So I'd say a very interesting selection there. I'm not really going to argue too much in the fact that I think those three were the best ones. You could have gone with maybe Cameron Orr, I guess, from the Rebels, but to say the least, I think Angus Bell was probably the best prop by a mile within Super P Trans-Tasman. He was just brilliant. He got at least, 4 tries or 3 tries in that competition. And even before that, when the Waratahs played within Super P AU, I thought he was, he did pretty well there. So, yeah, not really going to argue too much with that selection there. I think that's pretty standard in that sense. With the hookers they've selected, they have gone with the likes of Brandon Pengamosa from the Reds, as well as Lachlan Lonergan, and they've gone with Fatih Katu from the Western Force. So this is probably the biggest shock, in my opinion, I'd say, throughout the whole squad of the players they haven't selected. And yeah, the big two that are missing from here, of course, is Flafa Anga from the Brumbies, as well as Jordan Uwasi from the Rebels. So yeah, those are the two big omissions, in my opinion, I'd say, from the squad by a country mile in that sense, where both those have been just not selected. And I can see why they haven't been selected, because in my opinion, Flafa he's normally been a brilliant player for the Brumbies, but this year, in particular, starting from last year into this year, he was going a bit off form, and I can definitely see why they go with the likes of Lachlan Lonergan instead, because he's actually been their number one hooker in that sense. So I can understand why they've gone with him instead of Flafa. Yeah, overall pretty impressed with the hooker selections there, and pretty happy with that in general. Obviously with those tight end props, they have gone with the likes of Tinian Tupo from the Reds, of course, battering ram, what are you going to expect from him? Alan Atoa from the Brumbies, been brilliant, I'd say, so far for them, obviously captain of the Brumbies, so you kind of expect that selection anyway. And then, of course, the last one is Pon Famiasi. So that's an interesting one, obviously. Pon Famiasi, to my knowledge, he didn't actually play for the Rebels within the Super P Trans-Tasman tournament, but he is still a very good player, and obviously he is a battering ram in that sense, where he's just, if you give him the ball, he'll just bust through tackles and all that. So yeah, he's a good player to have, obviously. And yeah, you could have, I'm trying to think if there's another player you could have gone with. Maybe Harry Johnson Holmes. I think he's the other one that I would have maybe considered to go in that position, but I can definitely see why you've gone with Famiasi instead of him. So yeah, but I'm not really going to argue too much with that selection there. Obviously with the locks they have gone with, they've gone with the likes of Matt Phillip from the Rebels, as well as, Tamani from the Western Force. So that's a big one actually to see, because obviously, he's an old dog in that sense, where I think he's 34 years old, but of course this is like the first time he's been included within the Wallabies side since 2013. When they were playing against Scotland. So yeah, this is a huge, you could say, win for Tamani. He's done very well to get into the squad. So yeah, credit to him. And now, of course, you have the likes of Darcy Swan for the Brumbies. He's the one who actually I'm most eager to see how he does, because I actually think he'll be Australia's best lock in the future. That's a strong call to say, but I actually think he has that potential where. Yeah, he's been brilliant. In my opinion, he was brilliant throughout Super P Trans-Tasman, and he had a lot of line-out skills. So for me, I think he's like the one to watch player within that locks, but we'll have to wait and see how he does. And of course, the last lock they have gone with is the likes of Robert Lotea from the Rebels. So he's another one, obviously, who's a uncut player, which is a great one to see. Obviously, he's done well. He's done pretty well with the Rebels throughout the whole tournament. So throughout both competitions, AU and Trans-Tasman. So yeah, fair to him. Yeah, good to see him in the squad. Of course, the last position for the forwards, you do the likes of the loose forwards. Loose forwards, they have gone with the likes of Lachlan Saikai Loto. I've put him within this section only because he can play both a 6 as well as a lock. Most likely he'll play more of a lock, but I've put him in the loose forward section just because I think he can also play within that position. So yeah, he's a great player to have. Obviously, I wouldn't say he's in the best of form in my opinion, but he's still a great player to have. Obviously, he's versatile in the sense where he can play different positions. You got the likes of Lachlan Swinton, as well as Rob Valentini and Michael Wells, who can all play 6. So that's kind of a good one to have. You could say Rob Valentini and Michael Wells can also play 8. So it's a good, those are 2 good players to have in that positions. And yeah, I think both of them have been brilliant. Particularly Rob Valentini. He was brilliant for the Brumbies, I'd say, throughout this whole Super P Trans-Tasman competition. So yeah, he's definitely one to watch out for within that loose forward pack. I mean, yeah, they've gone with the likes of Fraser McWright, who's just been brilliant for the Reds. Obviously, was very very crucial to towards their their victory, you could say, within Super AU. Yeah, he's just one of those key players that you have to keep an eye on, and yeah, he's so good within the breakdown. So yeah, definitely look more for that. And now, obviously, they've gone with the likes of Nazarani as well as Harry Wilson as their number 8. So yeah, kind of expected in that sense. Yeah, the last player, and of course the captain of the Wallabies that they've gone with is Michael Hooper, who's actually returning from Japan, which is a good one, of course. And obviously, his parent club is the Waratahs. So, but it's good to see that he's coming back, and obviously, he has a lot of experience they can bring into this side, and kind of a lot of you could say expertise in how they can break down the French. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that's kind of it with the forwards. I mean, yeah, generally I think I'm pretty happy with that forward pack and what the players they've selected with that. I mean, definitely comment below if you guys disagree or agree with those ones. I mean, I particularly agree with most of the selections there, but yeah, there are a few names obviously that missed out. Anyway, moving on to the back. So here are the backs, of course, for the Wallabies. I'll run them by you guys, and yeah, I'll tell you what I think about them. So of course with the backs, with the scrum halves, you do the likes of Nick White from the Brumbies, as well as Tim McDermott from the Reds, and of course Jake Gordon from the Waratahs. So to say the least, that's kind of the expected trio you would expect for the scrum half trio. I mean, you could maybe say, I mean, what's his name? The guy from the Rebels who recently just joined there. I'm blanking, but he sort of tried literally yesterday. I should know his name, but it's one of those where he was also brilliant. I'm trying to think of this. I mean, Kupele, nah. I mean, Ian Pryor maybe from the Western Force, but I wouldn't really go with him. It's one of those where I just think, yeah, those three are really the standard ones. And yeah, I think Nick White did brilliant. He always did well when he came off the bench, and obviously Tim McDermott was brilliant for the Reds, for Super AU and Trans-Tasman. So it's one of those where I just agree with both of those. And of course, Jake Gordon he's just so good to have. So yeah, I can understand that one. With the Flyers, of course, they have gone the likes of James O'Connor from the Reds, as well as Matt Chamua from the Rebels, and Noah Luseo from the Brumbies. So yeah, kind of a standard selection in that sense, and it's understandable why they haven't gone the likes of Will Harrison. Waratahs haven't been that good, so yeah, I can understand why those three have been selected. And what's kind of useful with those three is actually they can also play, all three of them can actually play centre as well, so it's one of those which it's a very versatile side in that sense, where you can obviously you can utilise players within different positions, so it's kind of nice to have that in that sense. I mean, yeah, with the centres, of course, they have gone with the likes of Hunter Pasami, as well as, from the Reds, of course, Parisi from the Waratahs. So great to see that one, because, he's probably the, I'm going to say the one-to-watch player you can say within that centres, because he's just brilliant for the Waratahs throughout both competitions. I mean, you do have the likes of Iketal from the Brumbies, as well as Foketti from the Waratahs. So yeah, two other centres who's done pretty well to actually get into the squad, and I believe their first time as well. So yeah, good to see that. I mean, yeah, for the left wingers, of course, yeah, you do have the likes of Filippo Dongadu from the Reds, of course. You do have the likes of Marika Corbetti from the Rebels, and of course Tom Wright from the Brumbies. And yeah, Tom Wright I love watching, because he always gives you at least a 7 out of 10 performance every time he plays. So yeah, we'll see how he does. But yeah, Filippo Dongadu has probably been the most informed winger in my opinion within the left hand side. So yeah, most likely he'll be the one starting. But yeah, I mean, like, when you look at the right wingers, when you do the likes of Andy Muirhead from the Brumbies, as well as Andrew Kellaway from the Rebels, in my opinion, this is where Vanavalu could have been selected, but of course he is injured. I mean, same with Jordan Patai. If you didn't know, he is also injured, so that's why he hasn't been selected within the centre spots as well. So it's one of those where I can understand why those two have been gone with. I mean, Andrew Kellaway has actually done pretty well for the Rebels recently, so I can definitely see why he's done, been selected. Yeah, well, of course, with the last position, with the fullbacks, you do the likes of Tom Banks from the Brumbies, and of course, Reece Hodge from the Rebels. Reece Hodge obviously is returning back from injury, so we'll see how he does. But yeah, overall, I think that's kind of the squad. I mean, I'm pretty pleased actually with the squad overall. I mean, definitely comment below, let me know what you guys think. I think, in my opinion, the squad is actually good enough to beat France. I just think the players that I select is going to be the interesting one, because obviously it's that starting lineup which is the most important thing. But I'll probably make another video just to explain who I think they should select. But I think for the meantime, yeah, just definitely comment below and tell me what you guys think of the squad, because I'm very excited for this series against France, because Australia-France is one of those games. I think now I'm particularly more excited, because both of those squads have, in my opinion, probably the best potential for the future in both squads, from the Southern Hemisphere as well as the Northern Hemisphere. So it should be a very interesting one, and of course, you never know, these two could meet within the World Cup, so we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, other than that, that's kind of it with the video. Just hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.